Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video, and hopefully this one is going to help you out. Yes, this, my friends, is probably one of my favorite new dinosaurs. This is the Noglin, and it is incredibly overpowered. Now, it sits on your shoulder and it does look kind of cute, I'm not gonna lie about that, and it's got some really neat features to it. So, if you go ahead and hold E on it, you can see it's got something called Brain Hunt. Yes, it can literally take over almost any creature and any human being as well. Now you can obviously carry it around your shoulder and you can throw it at somebody in order to engage the Brain Hunt by double tapping F on PC. And you can see there's not really any valuable stuff other than that. It's not like a harvesting dino or anything like that, but that's just how it is. A little bit of lag right there, just still need to optimize this new server, but oh well. So anyways, you can see that you have that option. So let's go ahead and go into his inventory, and I'll show you that you can see he's got some pretty neat little statistics on him. I can give him a very high level and stuff like that, but there's not, in my opinion, I mean, there's not really a value to that. I'll explain that in a second. Now, yes, he is a 150 perfect tame in the wild. You can increase his movement speed, and that seems to be very helpful. The reason is the faster he is, the easier it is to chase something down, and then once you chase something down, it's already over. It's a running game at that point, and you win. Now, in order to use the Noglin, essentially you throw him at something or you engage brain hunting mode. Now, I'll show you what that looks like with wild tames before we get into the complication of regular tames. Let's say I want this Dilophosaurus, right? All I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it, and because it's a invalid target, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. So you can see right here, this guy is, why am I in K mode with him? There we go. Once you access a target, you'll see it highlight red or highlight green. Red means you can't actually attach to it, and then green means you can attach to it. In order to do it, you hit right click on PC, and you'll be able to mind control a wild creature. Now, obviously, I'm going to go ahead and run up to this guy and just smoke him, and it makes things very useful. Like, you can literally take over any wild creature just about, depending on their size and level. Now, in order to, you can do any normal move with this thing, but in order to, there's two options essentially. One, you disconnect yourself from the wild creature, or two, you basically leave and go into your character again, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if you double tap F, you can see that I still have access to this, so you can literally temporarily tame a wild creature, and yes, it does count as a tame, so you can breed with wild creatures, which is pretty awesome, and that is one pretty cool thing. But outside of that, we're going to go ahead and remove the Noglin, and you can see repossess is an option too, so I can go back inside of this creature and just take it over. Now, if I was to hold F as the Noglin, I'm going to poof this thing into oblivion. Boop. And yes, it does 10 million damage. No, that is not a joke. 10 million damage. So there is literally nothing that can survive this. You can see it can't like reinfest yourself, but as soon as you are done inside of whatever dino you've just claimed, you can move on to the next one. And you can see how quick this little guy is. He can move pretty quick, but if you increase movement speed, it becomes ridiculously fast. And you can pretty much get back to yourself right away just by going over and taking over a new dino. Now, it's kind of cool. So you can see I'm just going to run around with this guy, and if I wanted to bring him back to me, I'd just get like a Megalosaurus, or a Megaloceros, and then just boop, 10 million damage, and then we're back. And then in order to leave this mode, you just double tap F, and then pick him back up again, and your little Noglin is back on your shoulder. Now, obviously, so that F is the command key that you want to use because you can detach, attach, whatever you need to do. So being able to go up to a wild dinosaur and just throw him at it too is pretty useful. So if I'm looking at this guy right here, he's pretty fast, but I can throw my Noglin at him, and I missed. Of course I missed. I don't want to engage Brain Hunt, so we're going to go ahead and pick this guy back up again. And we're going to go ahead and find a dinosaur that easier. There we go. So if I double tap F, you can see I throw my Noglin at whatever creature I'm next to, and he will actively go ahead and search this thing out. And I can use all of the regular things that I would be using anyways, like just scanning. So any attack that this dino normally has, you can use it. And then you can bring it back to yourself and then go ahead and do 10 million damage, which is pretty useful, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and pick him back up. And that is how you take care of wild tames. Now I'm going to go ahead and change the time of day because, you know, I don't really like time of day. I don't like when it gets darker. Alright, there we go. So anyways, you can see that you can easily take over wild creatures. It's useful for breeding them if you want to, it's like, oh, this one has some awesome stats because I hit N on it. Or, yeah, why aren't you reading me the stats, HLNA? Please? No? Is it, like, not gonna work? What's going on here, huh? What's going on? Please? No? Alright, whatever. Anyways, you can see that if you have dinos with a wild stat that you like, you can go ahead and claim them with the Noglin, and that's how it works. Now, what are the things that prevent you from claiming the dino with the Noglin? If the dino is higher level than the Noglin, he cannot possess the dino. So that's something you can't do. And there are a couple of regular dinos that you cannot basically take over, like Reaper Kings. Now, the Reaper King right here, obviously you can see it's red, invalid target. I can't take him over. The Titanosaur, invalid target. You can't take them over. Wyverns, you can see you can take these guys over, so that's pretty cool. Giganotosaurus or Gigantosaurus, whatever you want to call them, you can take them over. However, if their level is too high, just like you see on this one, level 225,000, you cannot take them over. Now, Forest Titans are too strong. You can't take them over. Wyverns, however, you can take them over. Now, what happens with a tame? Because basically, once you take over a tame, we're going to go ahead and toss this guy in him. You can see that I can now go up to this creature, and if I really wanted to, I can repossess him and be, there you go, I have now taken over. The mind control technique, it's different amount of time based on tames versus wilds versus humans, all that kind of stuff. And basically it becomes your property for that amount of time, and you can bring it to wherever you need to. And there's a lot of useful things, like you can use the breeding lines of somebody else. You can go and get inside somebody's base. If somebody's raiding you, you can like back their trike up into a turret, so it's not actually taking reduced damage. There's a ton of uses for this Noglin. Now you can disconnect yourself from it, and you can remain in this Noglin mode by hitting F. But when you possess a target like this right here, a wild or a non-wild target, it does not do the 10 million damage. So that is something to keep in mind. But you can temporarily do whatever you want with it. So you can basically shred things, or let's say you're going something that's important, like you're defending your base or something along those lines, and somebody's attacking you, so you kind of like just destroy one of their tames and like back it up into your turrets. That's a great way to go about this. Or if you're in like a PvP matchup with somebody and you take over their tame, they're pretty hosed. So like, let's say you go after a wyvern right here. If I hit right click, I'll attach to it, and I can literally take control of the wyvern, full control of it. I can go up in the air, I can use its electric attack, I can do whatever I need to do necessarily, and that is very, very useful, obviously. Now, you've got it for 2 minutes, so you can just fly it into your turrets if you really wanted to, but it's entirely up to you how you go about doing that. Or if you wanted to steal the breeding line, you could do that as well. You can, again, double tap F if you do not want to lose control of it, and you can actually ride the Noglin controlled tame just like it was yours, and then hop off it just like usual. You can set all the modes and everything you normally would. You can repossess. You can also remove the Noglin from this side, and then we'll go ahead and drop that off, and you can see that he is just like, okay, fine, I'm done. And then you just take it over, and it's like nothing happened. It doesn't do any damage to a tamed creature, so that is quite useful. Now, this is where it gets a little bit overpowered, in my opinion. So if I was to go ahead and go up to, as long as you have high level Noglins, like literally it doesn't matter the stats necessarily, as long as they are stupid high level. You just want high level Noglins. Because if I go up to this Giganotosaurus and I double tap F, boom, mine. This is mine now. And I can use this as if it were mine. So I can just go through everything and just smack things. Now, you'll notice that I'm just walking around as if it was my tame. That is hilariously overpowered, in my opinion. You can roar, you can do everything you wanted to. If you wanted to run this thing straight into your death wall, then go ahead and do that. That's totally cool. You can see that I just double tapped F and I stayed out of that mode. It also pings where your Noglin is, which is pretty awesome. But that's just, that's how it works. So you'll have to go up to it. I have not found a way to actually like reactivate possessing from a distance, because that would be kind of overpowered, but you can go up to it and then repossess it if you accidentally double tap F. Now, what'll happen is if you get beneath half health on this guy, it'll lose control. You won't be able to actually access the ability. And then outside of that, it literally is your tame for however long you have this tame for. So kind of ridiculous. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. You'll be able to actually harvest whatever you want from it. So you can actually go over to it and say, hey, I just did a meat run with somebody else's Giganotosaurus. I can go ahead and walk up to it, get whatever was in its inventory and pull it out. So that's pretty neato. Now you can go ahead and remove the Noglin just like this, and then it just does and stays wherever it was. Now if it's on neutral or aggressive, that's where you're going to have a problem, because that guy right there will come after you, so you don't want that to happen, obviously. So keep that in mind. Looks like that guy is on neutral over there for some reason, so we're going to go ahead and head over here and see what's going on. Now it is being attacked. You can see that there's a raptor over there, and it's being just slaughtered by something, by this wyvern, so that's good. But these Noglins are going to be ridiculously overpowered, and just so you can see, here is a non-mine Pteranodon, and this is my Pteranodon. Remember, if you are to get something and then you turn mating on with this guy, enable mating, and it's close enough to another Pteranodon that is also on mating, they will actively begin to mate. So you can literally steal people's breeding lines using the Noglin, which is really, really awesome. At least in my opinion, it's pretty awesome. So the Noglins are ridiculously overpowered. They are really fun to use, and they are definitely a necessity. I have not been able to test it against a player yet, but I'm pretty sure that it gives you the same access that you would have via a tame, and you can like open things, turn things off, all kinds of stuff like that. So this is going to bring a whole new level to PvP. So we'll see how it works, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty crazy awesome, because you can, let's say you're defending a base and someone's like just sprinting at you basically, you can just like put a Noglin on them and then sprint them into your turrets. Free loot. So pretty cool. I think this is going to change the meta of the game a ton. That's my personal opinion on it, and hopefully it does, because I think the meta of Ark needs a little bit of changing. Alright, anyways, hopefully this helps. Teach. Ow.